Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Administrative Services Committee meeting. We are ready to get started, and we'll start with the approval of the minutes from February. I see a hand. Is that a motion?
Yes.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Lisa and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Privilege of the floor. We will open the privilege of the floor. Is there anybody here to speak to us? Seeing no one, we will close the privilege of the floor. Proposal resolution, authorized lease agreement with Jamestown Rental Properties LLC. This was tabled at the February Public Facilities Committee meeting.
Good afternoon, Tim Carr, Director of Public Facilities.
Good afternoon, Anna Morgan, County Attorney.
Good afternoon. So, what do you got for us?
So we have a resolution for you today for the lease of the property currently located at 95 East Chautauqua Street here in Mayville. Many of you probably remember it as the old Dr. Burke's office. It is a facility that we plan on using to house our law department as well as the social services law department. So kind of consolidate all the attorneys and the staff that goes with them. The building, and this is something Tim can speak a little more about, has been selected after a very, very long and laborious project of finding a suitable building. We, of course, started within the county and the facilities already available to us. Trying to house about 25 employees is almost impossible in the current facilities. Additionally, because this is a law office, we are bound by strict rules of confidentiality. We cannot share offices with other people. We cannot do work in more or less common areas. We need to have the social services part, particularly needs to have their files, all their information, their digital databases in a very strict and secured environment, because we're bound to do that under the law, especially legal records and other stuff that's in our retention. When we looked around Mayville, and I think Tim can attest to that, I don't believe there were other suitable buildings that we deemed to be cost-wise, quality-wise, appropriate for what we were looking for. Tim, am I correct?
Yes. This building is a 7,500 square foot building, and we're looking at a 10-year lease, with the cost being $14 per square foot, and that does include the build-outs. So roughly $87.50 per month. And again, the owner shall be responsible for all the utilities, including heat and electric and cleaning, and the county is responsible for the cost of the phone, internet service, including installation fees. And John, maybe you can just help me here, but I have a cost of $18,400 associated with a one-time cost as far as equipping the space with the phone, internet, and office furniture, roughly.
Roughly, yes.
Thank you.
Are there any questions about the building itself or the location?
Anybody, questions?
Okay.
Nothing.
I would just like to address the LLC that owns the building that we are looking to enter into a contract with. It is my understanding that this committee tabled the resolution last time because there were last second very serious outstanding tax matters brought to your attention and my attention as well. This is something that both the county executive and the law department discussed directly with the LLC, with their attorney and the bank, the Lakeshore Savings Bank, that approved a loan to the LLC recently. I believe you all either have the information that we received, the letter of intent, or if not, I'm happy to provide you guys with copies. The owner of the LLC has applied for a loan to consolidate his outstanding mortgages, but more importantly, his outstanding property taxes owed to the county. Not only that, but the loan is conditioned upon him paying off the taxes to the county. So we have secured that financing in its entirety. He owns multiple properties and owes tax on multiple properties. Those will be covered immediately when the loan is distributed to him. Going forward, obviously, we expressed certain expectations of him as well, so that this does not happen again. And we are expecting him to be ready and financially able to do the build-outs as we see fit as well. Otherwise, we will not be proceeding. So the contract, the resolution today and the contract that's going to follow is relatively specific. We need him to do a lot of work so that we can move in and be reasonable and pleasant tenants for the next 10 years. Both parties need to meet their obligations for us to get there. So this is the first step.
Very good. Thank you for that. Any questions? You got anything else for us?
No.
That sounds like about it.
Yep.
Any questions, comments, concerns? Now I'm gonna go like this. Because we took it off the table in public facilities, it's off the table?
It's
or-
off the table. You can just act on it.
I don't want to do it wrong. Tempting to do it right here. All right. No questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is local law intro 125, a local law amending local law 1322, providing for a management salary plan for county officers and employees. Director of HR, Compliance Officer for Chautauqua County Human Resources Department. Boy, is my microphone working. I even sound good to me. I feel like a disc jockey. It's like-
All right, good afternoon, everybody. County Executive P.J. Wendell here to speak on this matter. What we have before you is a local law providing for the management salary for county officers, and particularly this deals with our HR director and compliance director. There shall be one title. The range will be range 23 of a $114,972 to its cap of $199,654. At the current rate and where we are currently, once this law does get adopted or gets passed and then adopted, there will not be any impact to the budget. There will be not be a salary increase. There has been a stipend that's been being paid through the actions of, actually, the stipend's been paid to the HR director because of the work that's been being done. We had a retirement of our former compliance officer. We've been looking at replacing that position for 2 years now. 19 months in, there were some interviews that took place. There could not come to consensus on hiring a candidate successfully. So this move now in this local law would then be just confirming and putting this back into place. Some of the advantage of this: one less open position. We can close the position, no need to continue recruitment efforts, allowing us to focus on other titles across the county. Cost savings to the county on a permanent basis. Right now, there is a savings that's being incurred, with the potential that that saving would go away if we hired a compliance officer. The salary we started at, the compliance officer, we had very few candidates. Compliance officers for entities such as ours are much, much higher. You're talking 150 plus, and that's like the market rate of a compliance officer. So it would formalize our compliance contract information, include one name and a full title, allows us to continue HR and compliance work with a permanent resolution, and allows us to assign the deputy compliance officer title to someone who can step in as a backup when the HR director is not available. The other piece of this is our compliance committee has been reconvened, I believe, towards the end of that little situation we had 5 years ago known as COVID. So there has been a committee that has been convening and reviewing our compliance issues, and it's been done very successfully. So there have been some concerns, but the other piece is prior to the sale of the county home, the HR director was the head compliance officer. So this is a position we're actually moving back to. A little bit of information: recruitment went on for 18 months, 71 candidates, 14 contacted with phone interviews, 8 scheduled with phone interviews. 3 actually had on-site interviews, and 3 completed an on-site interview with the team. Members of the team are here today. And we are at the position we're at right now. We haven't been able to find anybody successfully, so we're looking to move forward, create the local law, establishing a salary range, and getting on with business. I yield.
Questions, comments, concerns? None?
Yeah, just briefly, you hit on it, and I might have missed it. So, in the near future or the distant future, we wanted to separate these two again. What would that process be, or would we be on the hook then for the additional salary?
Now, the same process, you go back and separate the positions, creating a compliance officer, a local law, amending that salary change, and then accordingly adjust the HR.
Okay.
Actually, the existing 2 titles would still be on the books and available. And so if a person that held the joint titles left and we weren't able to find somebody to fill the joint titles, the individual titles would still be available to be filled.
Okay. At what established range or grade, or that would be for us to establish at that point?
At the current established ranges that we have in place today
Okay.
for the HR director and the compliance officer.
So, yes, and I like what's going on here. I love it. I'm just thinking down the road, if we have a person that is no longer able to do both, desires to do both, whatever, and then we split them back up, are we splitting them both up at a higher level? But I guess we would deal with that at that point in time.
The level of the HR director that is in effect today would still be in effect down the road.
Okay.
And the level for the compliance officer that's in effect today would still be in effect down the road.
Perfect. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I'm enthusiastic about this plan. It's gonna save us money right now, and it's gonna keep us doing what we're supposed to do with the compliance officer, so I appreciate that, County Executive.
Thank you. And Travis, for clarity, it's, as Pierre said, we've already established these titles. We're not doing away with the titles, we're just not filling them and leaving them vacant. So it does seem a little confusing. So again, the titles can hang out, and as the HR director would tell you, we have many titles that have been established. They hang out there in limbo, if you will. Should we need to fill them, we can go back and fill those, but establishing that those titles and those ranges have already been done.
Good to know. And then what Lisa said just jogged my thinking on another thing. And apparently the answer is no, because it has been empty. Are we required by anybody to have a compliance officer?
Yes, we are.
Oh, the state says that we have to. Okay.
It's a mandate, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
It's also good, very good practice
Yes.
to prevent us from liability,
Totally agree.
enormous liability.
Anything else? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 3, proposed resolution, authorize extension of the I forgot my readers. Election Cybersecurity Remediation Grant Program Award from the New York State Board of Elections, also known as the ECRGBPA. For you living in the acronym world. I just made that up. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Sam Zaffuto, Deputy Director of Finance.
Nicole Ellis, Board of Elections.
Luz Torres, Board of Elections.
Yep, so good evening. Yeah, this is to authorize a grant extension. This is a cybersecurity grant that Board of Elections has had actually since 2019. Last month, we had 4 other grants that we kind of brought forward to amend, and this actually had a balance on it. So realizing that, we reached out to the IT director, whether the county had a legitimate charge we could use by March 31st of this month to basically get this grant funds. John indicated he did, which he has come through with that expense. So this is to basically reimburse the county for that and close this grant out.
Pretty straightforward. Questions, comments, concerns? None. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 4, proposed resolution amend the 2024 budget for year-end reconciliations, capital and interfund accounts.
Hello, Kitty Crow, Director of Finance. I did pass out a handout to everyone as backup for this resolution because there's several adjustments going on here. As the title conveys, this is a year-end reconciliation, so a lot of ins and outs here, mostly related to some capital projects. The handout, rather than color coding, which I've done in the past, there are too many colors for this resolution, so I coded them numerically. So the ins and outs, could correspond to the number. So, for example, the first item, which is an interfund transfer account, that was budgeted in a appropriate account. So we are increasing the budget $4,200 and decreasing it down below where you see the other zero. I'm happy to go through all of these if you like, or if you just want to take a minute to look through the explanations and let me know if you have any particular questions. I should note that overall, as a result of several of the transactions here, there is $153,000 that'll be returned to the reserve for capital due to some projects that were canceled and or underspent. I guess I will also call out number 6. So under decrease appropriations, number 6, the $3.7 million, that's due to the ARPA projects that are everything like we've reported before was duly appropriated by the end of 2024. So these are funds that we won't recognize the revenue until 2025. So we've appropriated all the expenses associated with those projects, but we only record the revenue at the time that we expend the funds. So it's just kind of, moving that out of 24, and it'll be recognized in 2025.
And just for review, when do we have to have all the ARPA stuff completed?
By the end of 26,
Six?
yeah. So all the funds all the invoices need to be paid by then. So.
And I didn't doubt for a minute that the county wouldn't be able to handle all the ARPA rules and regulations, and I commend you guys
Right.
for doing that. I have seen regional and somewhat local reports of it not getting done, and that's just gives better credit to our team here in the county for completing what needed to be done to receive all those funds. So good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, any questions? Everybody's had a chance to look this over? How'd you get the large print?
I didn't. It's further away, you can focus.
It looks
better.
bigger.
But Kitty, this is all coded on the side.
Yeah, so that column with the 0 through 9, all of the zeros balance each other out, all the ones balance each other out, et cetera, so.
Thank you.
And obviously, if you have any follow-up questions after today, I'm happy to respond by email or phone.
Okay. All right, very good. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next, item number 5, proposed resolution to amend capital project accounts with reserve for Capital Jamestown Community College. We are being joined on the big screen by Kathleen Dennison. Take it away,
Thank you.
Kathleen.
Thank you. Can all of you hear me?
Yes.
I appreciate the opportunity to appear via Zoom. The last time I presented resolutions for Jamestown Community College, they went to the Planning and Economic Development Committee. So I was planning on being in Mayville on Wednesday night and not tonight. But fortunately, with Jennifer Swan and Christie's help, we were able to get this organized for me to appear at least by Zoom. So I am the interim vice president of finance and operations for Jamestown Community College. We are in the process of quite a number of different projects, but this first resolution pertains to a project that is at our, what we call the Learning Commons. It's on the first floor of the Holtquist Library Building on the Jamestown Community College. And we have approval for a project there with a budget of approximately $543,000 to renovate the Learning Commons / library. It also involves some reconfiguration of some of our IT offices. When we got into the project, it also involves replacing the carpet and repainting the space, a lot of which hasn't been done in about 30 years. So when we started moving books and pulling up carpet, asbestos was revealed. So we have had the space analyzed, and we work with Labella and Associates. They're our primary architectural project and project manager on a lot of these projects. And so Labella and Associates analyzed the situation in the library and determined that abatement of the asbestos of this space would cost approximately $250,000. Since I wrote the resolution, we have also determined that in addition to hiring a contractor to abate the asbestos, we also need to engage Labella to monitor the process. And so that would be an approximately additional $25,000. So if you are open to this resolution, I would like to amend the amounts to be, instead of $62,500, to be $68,750,000. That's 25% of the overall additional cost of $275,000. As most of you are aware, our capital projects are funded 50% by New York State, 25% by Chautauqua County as the sponsoring county, and 25% by the college itself. So as I said, this project, we do have the approved budget in total for $543,000, but are looking to increase it by another $275,000 in total to deal with the asbestos. So we are asking the county if you would be willing to increase your commitment to this particular project by a total of $68,750.
Okay, thanks for asking. Now let's see what everybody thinks. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment.
Yes.
I understand the situation, but when we make a commitment to a capital project, a county capital project, we have the full responsibility for managing that project and making sure that we bring in a project within project budget. This is funding that we allocated to JCC for a project that we have absolutely no control over. This was a project that the responsibility for managing this project was JCC's. Now, historically, we have been very flexible with JCC capital projects, that if they see that one project is going to cost more than they anticipated, and they have another capital project that we have agreed to fund, we allow them to move funds between projects. It's part of the management process of managing capital projects. This resolution that's before us is not looking to take funds from another project. It's looking for additional funds from our capital reserve fund. So I think that this is a dangerous precedent that we ought to be very careful considering before we would embark on this.
Okay, thank you, Pierre.
Yes, and I would say, of course, we consider it an unusual situation as well, and do not ask for this lightly. I'm sure one of the questions that you might ask is, if you do not approve the resolution, what will happen? If we don't have a choice to not deal with the asbestos, the project is already in process. As I said, a lot of this carpet was removed with the intention of replacing it, and that's when the asbestos was found. So we're in the middle of the approved project. As I said, we really don't have a choice our choices would be abate the investment and finish asbestos and finish the project, or I guess we can't really even put it back together, because now that we know the asbestos is there, we are obligated to deal with it. So if the county is not inclined to increase the budget for this project, we would have to look for other sources. And honestly, at this point, we have not identified those sources. The college has capital funds. We do charge a capital fee for all students, and generally that fund is what we use to finance the 25% of the projects that are the college's responsibility. So we do have money in what we call the chargeback fund. We probably would approach the Jamestown College Foundation for additional resources. And the other thing with this project is we have not yet approached the state. The state normally, as I said, funds 50% of our projects. In general, projects that are approved by the county are funded by the state. So if the county decides to go ahead with the increase in funding, then we would approach the state to increase its funding as well. We have not done that because, as I said, really the starting point for the state ask starts with you. So again, just to summarize, if the county is not favorably disposed towards this resolution, we would be looking for funds within JCC's funds with the foundation. We also, of course, considered cutting back on other existing capital projects. The only project, this is a 2025 project, the only project that's large enough to cover this unforeseen expense is we do have the intention to replace 2 of the generators in the Sheldon building. Those generators support the building itself, but also all of our computer servers. And the estimated cost of that project is about $300,000. So if this request is not funded, that is another option that we are considering, is that we would possibly delay replacing that generator for a year. That is not a preferred solution, but it is an option.
Okay, thank you for that. Dalton?
Can I ask if you or Labella did any asbestos testing before you put this project out to bid for your bidders?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
Once the asbestos was detected, Labella has now put the abatement out to at least a couple of contractors. So we do have specific dollar figures for the asbestos, the abatement at this time.
Okay.
Anyone else? This is, kind of a tough decision. I'm going to take into consideration what Pierre said, and after hearing his concerns, taking into consideration what Kathleen, you had to say about possibly looking to other sources for the revenue, I personally think I'm going to have to vote against this one at this time. I guess it could always be brought back to us if there wasn't any other funding available, but as the chairman, I usually don't like to show my hand how I'm going to vote on something, but in this case, I'll be voting against it. So any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, all in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Okay. All right, takes us to the, what's that?
Were we voting on the amendment, or were we voting on that resolution?
That's very good.
Proposed amendment.
Thank you. So I guess we should vote, yeah, here we go. Rewind. If I could talk backwards, I would. Let's vote on amending the resolution to, go ahead, Dalton, make the motion.
I make a motion to vote on the amended resolution at her $5,250 increase.
So you are making a motion to amend it to 68,750?
Correct, yes.
Do we have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor of amending it to 68,750, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
We got 3 ayes and 1 nay?
Correct.
Oh, we got 4 ayes and 1 nay.
No,
Sorry.
I'm a nay.
You're a nay. We have 3 ayes and 2 nays to amend it. Okay, so it passed to amend. Now we'll vote on the amended amount. All in favor, say aye.
That amended amount is 68,750.
750, yes.
Okay.
And opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, defeated. Thank you. Did you get all that?
She's on it.
Who were the yays and who were the nays?
Nay, nay,
Vance from Anthony.
yay, yay, yay.
Okay. Thanks.
We voted as a block on that one. Okay. All right, we got through that one. Let's see if we can get through the next one. Number 6, proposed resolution, amend capital projects accounts, Jamestown Community College.
This resolution is to reallocate or request to reallocate funds between existing and already approved capital projects for Jamestown Community College. These 2 projects, they are part of what we call critical maintenance. It's the state's project from 2022. And within that state project, there are a number of county projects. One of them is infrastructure repairs. The 2 of the others are roofs and the underground heating project. So the underground heating project is completely finished. It was about a $3.5 million project. The final expenditures did exceed the budget by $30,392. Also, we have a number of roofing projects, but within the critical maintenance 2022 project, the roofing budget is exceeded by $2,340. So we would like to increase those appropriations and reduce the funds for our infrastructure repairs. So this resolution is self-balancing. The project number 12, the underground heating project, as I said, that project is completely finished. And so after this budget amendment, we would like to close that project. That is also part of the resolution. The roofing project tends to live on. We have additional roofing funds that have been approved in 2025, so we are not requesting to close that project at this time.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, as I said on the previous resolution, I believe it's JCC's responsibility to manage their capital project. And I think this is an example with this resolution of where they are effectively managing capital projects. So I think that this is a good example of the way we would expect JCC to manage their capital projects. So I think this is a good one.
Okay. And I agree with you, Pierre. And I know we spoke even with Kathleen about moving monies around capital projects. We don't tend to do that anywhere I guess I'll pick on you, except for at JCC, or it happens more often with JCC, and I know we've talked about maybe, I don't know what the term would be, tightening that up or something, but, yeah, this is a whole different bird here, so, okay. Thank you, Pierre, for that.
And I would add, Chairman Scudder, that I will be making a presentation to the Audit and Control Committee on Thursday under the topic of, as you said, tightening up the process. So I will be presenting all of the projects that are in process and giving everyone a position of where we are with them, at least financially, but also with the goal that we would be making these reallocations before the project actually goes over budget and, you know, before it's finished and before it needs additional funds.
Okay, good. Well, I'll be there Thursday, so.
Okay.
All right. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, thank you, Kathleen.
All right, thank you.
Number 7, proposed resolution setting the salary for senior legal secretary.
Good evening, Jason Schmidt, District Attorney. So the request that we have, which is memorialized in the resolution before you, is to establish a new title within the Chautauqua County government, that of a senior legal secretary position, which would, at a salary rate set at a grade 14. Currently, the legal secretaries are started at grade 9. In or around the 2022 period, just as we were coming out of the pandemic, and the changes in the laws that affect the business that we do at the DA's office have been implemented, I had unilaterally changed the duties and responsibilities of the legal secretaries in order to comply with the law, for fear that if I didn't, we were going to either have a large number of our cases either crippled or killed as a result of failure to comply with the new laws. The legal secretaries historically performed secretarial functions that are traditional in a law office environment. Historically, a legal secretary performs secretarial duties, but they also interact closely with courts, and they are responsible for court filings and adherence to those filing requirements. Sometimes they require silly things such as a legal back and so forth. This is quite different. In around 2022, I had our 6 legal secretaries essentially take on discovery compliance. It requires a great deal of discretion. It requires understanding the laws. It was changed by our state legislature. It requires interacting now with all of our police agencies, private entities, to recover and to take in all of the investigative materials and digital evidence that has been developed during the course of a criminal investigation. We have 6 paralegals that perform this function for us on behalf of our felony team here in Mayville, which makes up about a fraction of our total caseload. The huge volume of our caseload consists of perhaps about 10,000 or more misdemeanor cases each and every year. Now, those cases are handled in our 2 city courts in Chautauqua County and justice courts sprinkled throughout Chautauqua County. Those misdemeanor cases also require the same legal work that we employ our 6 paralegals to perform here in Mayville. Unfortunately, we have to do that for each and every case. We can't afford as a county or as an office to employ further that many paralegals. What we have done is we've taken the secretaries and we've given them those responsibilities. It requires a great deal of discretion. If we don't, it's very high paced because when somebody is arraigned on in this case a misdemeanor charge, we only have a certain period of time. Essentially, they're out of custody 20 to 30 days to comply with the law, which requires quite a big undertaking. It requires us to get all the investigative materials, digitalize it, get it into our system, review it, organize it, understand what we've got, and then disseminate it out to defense counsel. We're now using 6 legal secretaries in that capacity, which is quite different from what they were doing before. We don't think it's very fair because it's actually quite different than what legal secretaries are performing elsewhere. I can't speak for the other departments. I could just tell you that this is a dramatic difference for each of them, and I think it's only fair that they be paid. We've already lost a legal secretary because it's a very high-stress environment. We just can't afford to miss any of, our discovery compliance efforts. So what I'm asking you to do is to take into consideration the larger circumstances that we're faced with. I've spent, I've been here a little bit over 4 years. I've spent most of the 4 years restructuring the office, creating a different operation just to comply with laws that none of us had anything to do with. They were decided in Albany. So that's the nut of it. I would only add that certainly there's going to be an impact here financially, and we're cognizant of that. We have 6 legal secretaries, 3 of whom are at the top tier because they've been with the county government for quite some time. So it won't really have such an impact on our budget. The other 3 are not a senior level, and I would predict that taking them from a grade 9 to a grade 14 obviously is going to have some impact. Meanwhile, though, I have 2 open ADA positions, 2 open paralegal positions. Even though I have financial authority for 6, we only have 4. I don't expect to fill any of those positions before June of this year. So we've now gone through, the first quarter. We're nearing the end of first quarter, and I think we'll go through second quarter without filling any of these positions. We'll be able to fill 1 ADA position and 1 paralegal position, I predict. So when I come before you again, towards the end of the year and we have a budget amendment, I don't expect that this increase is going to have an impact on us because we've had these vacant positions. So that's it in a nut. If there's any, I could speak ad nauseum about the discovery laws. Call, if you can't sleep, if you have insomnia, give me a call at night. I'll explain it to you.
How about you call me? I won't call you.
Sure. Can I have your number?
No, when I say no, I appreciate it. I'm having a little bit of fun with that, but any questions or comments on this?
Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah, and it's
You're one of
needed.
those departments that's hard to argue a raise since it's mandated by the state once again to, put that burden on your employees.
That's what it is. We're just trying to be creative here and adjust to the changing times.
Right. And there's a need. We need to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, number 8, proposed resolution reallocating salary grade for resource assistant crime analyst.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Sheriff Jim Quattrone. This resolution is for reallocation of our resource assistant / crime analyst. Her duties over the last couple of years have increased and changed quite a bit. So we were looking to upgrade from a grade 12 to a grade 17. She handles all of our crime analysts for our SHATAC, which is the threat assessment management team, as well as works with our unsolved case team and our investigators on a regular basis. So the CSEA unit 6300 collective bargaining unit in their committee, it determined that she should be upgraded 5 grades, and so we're bringing that in front of you.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns for Sheriff Quattrone? Seeing none, we will vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Item number 9, proposed resolution reallocating salary grade for network infrastructure supervisor.
Good evening. John D'Angelo, Chief Information Officer for the county. This resolution is an attempt to upgrade our network infrastructure supervisor from a grade 23 to a grade 26. That would put this title on par with my other top leaders in the IT department. So his role, or this role, has increased over the years. Primarily, they're responsible for the entire county network. They're the guys working on your wireless that's, tirelessly for the past few days. But in addition, and this is where the real growth has come in, is with the cyber security stance that we have, and the amount of work and technical know-how that has to go into that has increased incredibly. So we actually are hiring a cyber security analyst this year, which has been budgeted for. This person will oversee that title. I don't see that title coming in under a 21 or a 23 grade-wise. So as a supervisor, I feel this should be a higher grade to supervise multiple individuals that this role has not done before. So that's the logic, and putting him at the level of the other leaders in the department. We have a senior systems analyst, and they oversee basically all the departments and all the software, end user issues, things like that. This is all about cybersecurity and network infrastructure. I did budget the cybersecurity analyst for an entire year. We haven't hired that yet. I plan on doing that soon, just like the sheriff said, so we'll have some room in our budget for this. I don't anticipate going over budget this year. It's going to be an increase down the road in subsequent years, but I don't anticipate that being the case this year. I did do some research on salaries. This title in public sector generally ranges from 118 to 193. So even bringing this up, the top step, according to my numbers, is around 105. So this is still lower than, I don't like comparing our salaries to other places, because then you get into New York City and such, and we just can't compare to those. But it is at the very low end of this title in general. So I think it is competitive for our area, though. I think we'll be able to recruit in the future when this individual retires to get somebody of good quality.
Sounds good.
Very good. Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Have a good evening.
You too. Thanks for sticking around. Item number 10, proposed resolution reallocating salary grades for storekeeper 1, storekeeper 2, and storekeeper 3.
Hello, Tim Carr, Director of Public Facilities. This resolution is for reallocating the storekeepers. Actually, it's the storekeeper 2 and storekeeper 3. They have put in the request from HR, and HR has come up with, currently, storekeeper 3 is a grade 11, which would go to a grade 12, step 8. And the Tim Lobb, the storekeeper 2 at grade 8 would go to a step 10, or grade 8, step 10, step 5, I'm sorry. And then the other individual will go from a grade 8 to a step 10, grade step 9. And again, these 3 individuals are responsible for all of our parts ordering for the whole county as far as highways, our 3 highway buildings, landfill, parks, sheriff's office, all our parts, and they are very active as far as inventory, working in New World, always updating everything as far as our parts department go. And also they are involved when it comes to purchasing heavy equipment as far as the bid process goes, with their knowledge and information as far as what specs to help as far as put out, and if we can keep the same equipment in the shops so we don't have to keep changing our parts and all that kind of stuff. So it is a very important positions.
Okay, any comments, questions? Hearing all these requests for the pay increases, it's good for those that are there, but I'm really hoping going down the road that it's makes it easier to fill these positions.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's important that we take care of our people. You know, I think it's a huge struggle sometimes that we see within the county government is, oh man, these wages aren't what they
Right.
are in other places. So I think once we have good people, we need to take care of them.
Right, good. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Carried, thanks, Tim. That brings us to number 11, other. I don't have any other. Does anybody have any other? Seeing and hearing no other. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
We got a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.